My daughter-in-law listed my home while I was gone. She said it was for her mother's destination wedding. It's her big day. She cried. Papers were signed. I didn't know any of that yet when the car turned onto my street. I had been away less than 2 weeks. The kind of trip you take believing your life will pause politely until you return. I was tired, but steady. I was thinking about unlocking my door, dropping my bag, standing still in a place that knew me. Then I saw the sign. It stood in my front yard like it had every right to be there. Bright, confident. The words "sale pending" printed clean and final. I asked the driver to stop. I didn't rush. I stepped out slowly, the way you do when your body understands something. Your mind is still refusing. My phone buzzed in my hand. Missed calls, voicemails, all from the same name, my daughter-in-law. I walked up the path and tried my code. The lock rejected it without hesitation. I tried again. Same result. The house didn't recognize me. My name is Elowyn Pierce, 56. I bought this house on my own after my divorce, with money I earned and decisions I made carefully. It was never a placeholder. It was never a family asset. It was mine. I stood there, keyless, staring through the glass. Inside, something looked off. Not messy, not broken, just rearranged in a way that erased me. I picked up my phone and called the number on the sign. The call connected on the second ring. The woman answered on the second ring. "Good afternoon. This is Meredith from Coastal Key Realty. I'm calling about the house on Waltham Drive." I said, "There's a sign on my lawn." There was a pause. Not of confusion, but recognition. "Oh, Elowyn. Hi. I was told you might be calling." My grip tightened. "You were told." "Yes. Your daughter-in-law has been coordinating everything while you were out of town. She said you prefer not to handle details." I didn't list my house. I said, I kept my voice level. "I didn't authorize anyone to do it for me." Meredith laughed softly, the way people do when they think you're joking badly. "The paperwork is already submitted. We're past listing. We're in escrow. I've been gone less than 2 weeks." "She mentioned that," Meredith said. Said timing was sensitive. "What paperwork?" I asked. Slower now. The standard agreement. Signatures verified. Timeline approved. We're scheduled to close early next week. The buyers are very eager. I didn't sign anything. Another pause. This one was shorter, tighter. "Your daughter-in-law provided documentation. She said you were aware." "I wasn't, well," Meredith said, her tone smoothing out again. "These things happen in families. People get busy. Communication slips. This is my house. Yes," she said, patiently. "And we all want what's best for everyone involved." "Who is everyone?" I asked. "The buyers. Your daughter-in-law, her mother." She lowered her voice. Almost conspiratorial. "The wedding plans are very important to them." My chest went cold. "You accepted documents from someone who doesn't own the property." "I accepted documents from someone who said she was acting with your consent. I want copies of everything." I said. "Now, of course," Meredith replied. "I'll forward the file. I'm sure once you review it, this will feel less upsetting." She hung up before I could answer. Seconds later, an email notification appeared on my screen. Attachments. Multiple pages. My name was on every one of them. I found her at her mother's house, sitting at the kitchen table with her phone face down and a glass of water untouched. When she saw me, she stood too fast. Like she'd been waiting for a cue. "Elowyn," she said, already breathless. "I knew you'd be upset. I want to hear you say it." I replied. "Say what you did." She pressed her lips together, eyes shining on command. "I helped list the house." "You helped," I said, "or you decided." Her shoulders folded inward. "It's temporary, just until after the wedding." "My house," I said, Is not a bridge loan. She wiped under her eyes, careful not to smear anything. It's my mom's destination wedding. She's dreamed about it for years. This is her big day. You sold my home, I said. You didn't ask? I didn't think you'd say no. She said quickly, You always say family helps family. That's not consent. She flinched, then rushed on. The market is good right now. We'll buy it back. Or something similar. You travel so much. Elowen, you barely use all that space. Stop. I said, You don't get to explain my life to me. Her voice cracked. My mom has already told everyone. Deposits are down. If this falls apart, she'll be humiliated. So you chose me, I said. I was the easier one to disappoint. She looked down. I knew you were strong. That landed worse than an insult. I didn't forge anything, she added, too quickly. The agent said if there was family authorization. You're not family authorization, I said. She started crying then. Real tears this time. I'm stuck in the middle. You put yourself there. Silence stretched. She sniffed, straightened her back. The papers are already signed. Backing out would hurt people. I'm already hurt, I said. She met my eyes, and for a moment, fear slipped through the entitlement. My mom can't lose this. I turned for the door. Neither can I. As I walked away, my phone buzzed again. Another message from the realtor, another attachment. I didn't open it yet. I opened the attachments in the parking lot. My phone balanced against the steering wheel. Forms, initials. A version of my name typed so neatly it felt impersonated. I called Meredith back. Elowen, she said, brisk now. I was just about to follow up. Walk me through this. I said, slowly. The listing agreement was submitted 4 days ago, she replied. Authorization was confirmed. We moved fast because your daughter-in-law said timing mattered. Authorization from whom? From family, she said. That's how it was presented. That's not a legal answer. She exhaled, impatient. Look, the buyers have already scheduled inspections. Movers are penciled in for early next week. Movers, I repeated. To clear the property, she said. Your daughter-in-law said you'd arranged storage. I closed my eyes. She doesn't have access to my things. She does now. Meredith said, keys were provided. By whom? By her, Meredith answered. She said you left them. I didn't. Another pause. Longer this time. Elowen, she said carefully. If there's a misunderstanding, it needs to be handled quickly. Backing out this late affects multiple parties. My life is not a scheduling inconvenience. I understand you're emotional, she replied. But the timeline is tight. The buyers are expecting possession. They're not getting it, I said. Silence crackled between us. I suggest you speak with your daughter-in-law. Meredith said finally, families resolve these things internally. I already did. I said, she told you what she needed you to believe. After I hung up, I sat there gripping the wheel, my breath shallow. They hadn't just crossed a line. They'd sprinted past it with boxes and clipboards. My phone buzzed again. A text this time, from my daughter-in-law. The movers just need a few hours. I made sure they're careful. I stared at the message until the words blurred. Then I put the car in drive and headed back toward the house. The locksmith didn't ask many questions. Meredith had arranged it, which meant my name was already doing work I hadn't agreed to. He handed me the new code like a favor. Inside, the house felt polite, neutral, ready. The first thing I noticed was what was gone. My chair by the window, the one I sat in every morning with coffee, had been replaced by a narrow beige sofa that smelled like plastic wrap. The bookshelf was half empty. The framed photo of my parents was missing. In its place hung a generic print of marsh grass and water, something chosen because it offended no one. A man in a polo shirt stepped out of the hallway. Oh, he said, you're early. I live here, I said. He blinked. Right. Sorry, I'm with staging. Where are my things? Storage unit, he replied. Your daughter-in-law said to keep personal items out of sight. Buyers like a blank slate. This isn't a slate, I said. It's my house. He shifted his weight. I just move what I'm told. Another woman appeared behind him, clipboard pressed to her chest. We're almost done, she said, smiling tightly. If you could give us an hour, I'm not going anywhere, I said. Her smile faltered. We're on a schedule. So was I said. Until someone rearranged my life. They exchanged a look. The man cleared his throat. We didn't pack anything sentimental. Just the obvious stuff. My life isn't obvious to you, I said. I walked into the bedroom. The bed had been stripped and remade with crisp white linens. Hotel clean. My nightstand drawer was empty. The lamp was gone. Even the smell was different. Like someone had aired out my habits. My phone buzzed. A text from my daughter-in-law. The staging makes it sell faster. It's nothing personal. I typed back once. Everything here is personal. In the kitchen. The counters were bare except for a bowl of green apples that looked untouched by human hands. I picked one up, felt its weight, then set it back where it had been arranged. The stager spoke again. Cautious now. If there's something specific you want saved, all of it. I said, I want all of it back. She nodded without committing. You should talk to the agent. I stood there, surrounded by a version of my home designed to appeal to strangers, and understood something with unsettling clarity. They hadn't just planned to sell the house. They'd already practiced living without me. The wedding board was still on the table when I walked in, propped up like a centerpiece. My daughter-in-law stood beside it, pointing with confidence, as if nothing had shifted. We're thinking coastal, she said to no one in particular. Her mom loves water. Her mother nodded, lips pursed, and sunsets. The photographer says golden hour is everything. I stayed standing. No one offered me a chair. There's the guest list, my daughter-in-law added, tapping a printed spreadsheet. We trimmed it to keep costs reasonable. Reasonable, I said. She glanced at me, then back to the board. Flights are the biggest expense. But we found a way to make it work. Her mother smiled, relieved. It's amazing what family can do when everyone pitches in. I waited. No one looked my way. The venue deposit is already handled. My daughter-in-law continued. Non-refundable, but worth it. Handled by whom? I said. She hesitated. We used creative solutions. Say it. I said. Her smile thinned. We leveraged assets. My house, I said. Her mother sighed. Elowen, don't make this harder than it has to be. I didn't make it anything. I replied. You did. My daughter-in-law reached for my arm. I stepped back. We assumed you'd understand, she said. You always do. You're practical. I'm not invisible. I said. Her mother folded her arms. This wedding is happening. People have booked time off. Expectations are set. And where was I when you set them? Silence. Papers rustled. Someone cleared their throat. My daughter-in-law lowered her voice. We just need you to cooperate until it's over. Cooperate, I said. With losing my home, her eyes flicked to the board again, as if the pictures could answer for her. It's temporary. I looked at the smiling faces printed on glossy paper. The budget circled in ink. The future they'd planned without me. I picked up my purse. I'll be in touch, I said. No one stopped me. I didn't confront anyone again. I went quiet instead. Silence has always been how I think best. I started with what I could access without asking. Public records, old emails, bank statements I still had from years ago, back when I'd helped my son refinance a loan. At first, nothing lined up cleanly. Payments made just often enough to avoid attention. Balances shifted between accounts like cups in a shell game. It took time, late nights, cross-checking dates, calling institutions that put me on hold and spoke in careful language. One clerk finally said, "Ma'am, this account is past due by 6 months." "Whose account?" I asked. She paused. "The one connected to the wedding deposits." I thanked her and hung up. The deposits weren't small. Venue holds, travel blocks, vendor retainers, tens of thousands of dollars committed without a visible source. I followed the trail backward and found personal loans taken out quietly. Credit lines stretched thin. A second mortgage I hadn't known existed. None of it added up to celebration. I called my son. He didn't answer. I left a message and kept going. By the third day, the pattern was clear enough to hurt. The wedding wasn't the cause. It was the excuse. A bright, urgent reason no one would question too closely. A way to turn desperation into something noble. Family helps family. I sat at my kitchen table, now bare of anything that felt like mine, and let the truth settle. They weren't planning a wedding. They were hiding a collapse. The smiles, the mood boards, the certainty that I would fall in line, all of it rested on the belief that I wouldn't look too closely. My phone rang. A number I didn't recognize. "This is Daniel," the voice said. "I handle private lending for your daughter-in-law's mother. We need to discuss an outstanding balance." "How much?" I asked. He told me. I wrote it down without reacting. "She said the house sale would resolve it." He added, "It won't." I said, there was a pause. "Then we need to talk about alternatives." After the call ended, I closed my notebook and sat still. I wasn't angry anymore. Anger requires surprise? What I felt instead was something colder and more precise. I knew exactly what I needed to do next. The lawyer didn't look impressed when I finished. She leaned back, hands folded. "Family disputes get emotional," she said. "Courts don't move on feelings." "I'm not asking you to," I replied. "I'm asking you to look at documents." She skimmed the copies I slid across the desk. The listing agreement, the authorization letter, the email trail. Her brow tightened. "Where's the original power of attorney?" she asked. "There isn't one." I said, "That's a problem," she said, then corrected herself. "For them," she kept reading, "this signature doesn't match your previous filings." "I know," she exhaled. "I need certified records, bank confirmations, proof of access. I'm working on it. Work faster," she said. "They're moving." Outside her office, I sat in my car and stared at my hands on the wheel. For the first time since I'd seen the sign, I considered stopping, letting the sale finish, finding an apartment. Being done, my phone buzzed. A text from my son. "She's under a lot of pressure. Please don't make this worse." I closed my eyes. Pressure, like pressure just happened to people. That night, I drove back to the house. The staging lights were still on. I went straight to the study and opened the cabinet they hadn't cleared. Inside was the file I'd kept for years. Deeds, tax records, insurance policies, my handwriting. Consistent and real. I carried it out under my arm. The next morning, I went back to the lawyer. "I have more," I said, setting the folder down. She opened it slowly, page by page. Her posture changed. "This," she said, tapping the paper, "stops the sale. And the rest," she looked at me, "this puts people at risk. I didn't put them there." I said. She nodded once. "Then we prepare everything." Quietly, I left her office with copies stamped and dated. The file felt heavier than paper should. That evening, my daughter-in-law texted again. "Dinner tomorrow. We should talk." I replied with one word, "Fine." Dinner was already on the table when I arrived. Plates arranged. Glasses filled. My daughter-in-law smiled too quickly. "I'm glad you came," she said. We can clear this up. I sat down without responding and placed the folder in front of me. It made a soft sound when it touched the table. Everyone noticed. My son glanced at it. Then at me. Do we really need to do this tonight? Yes, I said, before anything else happens. My daughter-in-law reached for her fork. Her hand shook. We said we were sorry. I'm not here for apologies. I said, I'm here for facts. I opened the folder and slid one page forward. This signature isn't mine, she swallowed. The agent said it was enough. She was wrong, I said. And so were you. Another page. This loan was taken out in your mother's name 6 months ago. Her mother stiffened. That's private. It became public when my house was used as collateral, I said. My son leaned back, color draining from his face. You went digging. I went looking for the truth. I said, there's a difference. I slid the final document across. This stops the sale. Effective immediately. Silence pressed in. No one reached for their food. You'd really do this, my daughter-in-law said quietly. After everything I already did, I replied. The paperwork is filed. Her mother stood. You're ruining us. I'm ending something that never belonged to you, I said. My son stared at the folder like it might explode. What happens now? That depends on what you choose next, I said. I'm finished choosing for you. I closed the folder and stood. No one tried to stop me. The sale stopped quietly. No celebration. Just a confirmation email from my lawyer and a voicemail from the agent that sounded careful, almost afraid. The buyers were released. The listing disappeared. The lock codes were reset again, this time by me. My son came by once. He stood in the doorway and didn't step inside. She's staying with her mother for now. He said, things are complicated. They were complicated before, I replied. He nodded, like he wanted to argue, then didn't. I wish you'd given us more time. I gave you my house. I said, you took the rest. He left without hugging me. My daughter-in-law didn't call. Her mother sent a message through someone else, a paragraph about disappointment and family values. I didn't respond. Silence had become a boundary I could hold. Inside the house, my things returned slowly, box by box. The chair by the window came back. The photo of my parents went on the shelf. The air felt like mine again, not welcoming, just honest. I learned something I didn't want to learn. Love doesn't mean access. Family doesn't mean entitlement. And sacrifice that's demanded isn't sacrifice at all. It's theft dressed up as tradition. I didn't win. Winning would have meant no damage. What I did was stop the bleeding. If this story resonated with you, tap like so it reaches someone who needs it. Share it with a friend who's learning how to draw lines. Subscribe if you believe boundaries can be acts of care, not cruelty. At night, the house is quiet. Not lonely, quiet. The kind of quiet that comes after choosing yourself without apology. I kept my home. I kept my name. I kept the right to decide what I give away. That was enough.